fam. It's me, your favorite cousin, your favorite brother, your favorite father, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Live4U, the YouTube channel. If you're here, you already know what we're about because you're coming back to come to the table. We got it laid out for you. By the way, how you doing? You're looking very, very good over there. I just wanted to put that out there. Y'all looking good, and if that's any indication of how you are, then you are doing perfectly well. Welcome to the table. We have a plethora of conversation today. We're going to have us a good meal to ingest and to talk about and to come together. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Larry Smith, PhD. I am a certified master life coach. I specialize specifically, my niche is helping African American males between the ages of 18 and 40 who have dealt with the trauma, but who possibly are having a difficult time moving beyond it, or it's impacting some aspect of their lives, be it relationships, mental, spiritual, emotional, you name it. My job, my love, my life is to help them to move beyond that in their lives. So I own a life coaching practice, Live4U Caoching. You can get all that information below. You can find all of the links to social media. What I need you guys to do, it's the only thing I ask of you, as you guys know, is I would like you to go ahead and like my video, subscribe to my channel if you're not a regular family member coming to the table, and you can click the notification bells to let you know when I post new things. In fact, I post things twice a week. Every Monday and every Thursday, you can expect something to be uploaded onto this channel for you from me. And then there's also the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Dr. Larry Smith. You can find that everywhere. Or you can just go to the website, www.live4ucoaching.com. There's many ways you can get in contact with me, and you can find out more about this channel, more about the practice, more about life coaching, and maybe we can find some way to help you in some capacity. You don't always have to be an African American male. I am trained to coach anybody. That is my niche and my love, but I am trained, certified to coach anybody. So anyway, welcome. Like I said, today we have us a very good conversation at the table today. So have a seat. It's kind of deep, but it's not deep. It's kind of intense, but it's not. It's kind of scandalous, but it's not really. It's just what's going on in the world today. As you know, on Thursdays, I like to talk about either popular culture, the news, reality TV, something fun. I did a mukbang at one point. I like to, talk about different things that are not necessarily related fully to coaching, but are coachable things. This past week was an interesting week. In this week, we saw several things happen. We saw Gayle King, the best friend of Oprah, CBS anchor on the CBS morning show, and I think CBS News and some other things. Very good journalist. She made a mistake. And the mistake she is related to Kobe Bryant. And actually, I did a video on Kobe Bryant. If you want to go and see that, you can actually go and link to that video either down below or in the on the page where we talk about Kobe's legacy. Now, a lot of people felt Kobe's legacy. They felt that Kobe Bryant had done everything that he could do, as much as he could humanly, to live what we call right, I guess you would say. And so because of that, when she asked a question related to an incident that Kobe was accused of years ago, it spurred outrage, and particularly in the Black community, but other communities too, but definitely in the Black community, all up social media. I can just recall on my Facebook timeline and my Instagram and all kinds of other things where I would just see boom, people just attacking Gayle King for this particular question. And she was interviewing Lisa Leslie's in the interview, a basketball player for the WNBA, also a very close friend of Kobe Bryant, who I thought handled the question pretty decently, but it was just a question. What really went off is when rapper Snoop Dogg, who happens to be one of my favorite rappers in my generation, goes on a tirade and a verbal assault on Gayle King for this particular question. and called her out of her name, said several things, and in some instance, according to some people, maybe not necessarily to Snoop himself, actually advocated violence towards Gayle King. And this made me think about so many things. Now, to be fair, Snoop has made us all proud because he has gone and since apologized for speaking out of his emotions and saying the things that he said. And I'm proud of him for that, because it does take a real black man or any real man to say, you know what, I was wrong. And because I was wrong, I am sorry. So that was a huge deal for him, just as he publicly went after her, for him to publicly apologize. I think that was powerful. So, and he even offered for them to meet together privately to have a conversation. I would love for that to happen, and I wish that they would do that. I want that to happen. All things don't need to be public, but I do think that conversation between those two should happen. Now, as you can see by the title, I'm a mama's boy. And a lot of black men, a lot of us say that we're mama's boys. We love our mothers. My mother last year transitioned out of this physical life and moved on. And, you know, and she was young. My mom was fairly young when she moved on. But I still have her presence with me everywhere I go. She's in my brain. She's in my heart. She's around me. I feel her. She's in my attitude and how I respond to things. It's almost like now in death, my mom's presence is a lot stronger in me than it was in life. But all throughout my life, me and my mom had a fairly close relationship. Of course, towards the end, as I got older and grew up a little bit in regards into myself, that relationship met challenges. But even despite that, me and my mom still constantly had a very close relationship. And a lot of black men, a lot of us are close with our mothers. We love our mothers. We adore our mothers. Don't say nothing about our mamas. Don't talk about our mamas. Don't think about our mamas in a negative way. Don't treat our mamas negative, because we're going to have a problem with you. That is a very, I hate to say it, but that is a very stereotypical black male perspective as it relates to our mothers. And I'm the exact same way. Don't say nothing about my mama. Don't do nothing to my mama, because I'm going to have a problem. And that's just how I was and how I still feel even after my mom's transition. And so because of that, our love, I think that love in itself translates, or should translate, to all of the black women that we have in our lives and around us and in our environment and that we encounter. I think that love for the black mama should be a love that black men have forever. What do I mean when I say that? Well, regardless of whether you're gay, straight, bi, tri, or whatever, I believe personally that it is the black man's responsibility to respect and to protect the black woman. I do not believe that we should ever endanger black women in any kind of capacity for several reasons. One, they're the cradle of life. You would not have been here, and no one else would have been here if it had not been for a black woman deciding to incubate you in her womb, in herself, literally carry, feed, nurture, and cultivate you for your existence. So everything that you are physically is indebted to the body of a black woman. And so because of that, to ever put your hands, physically assault, or any other kind of harm to a black woman, the cradle of your life, is an affront to your very existence. All of us. And so it is important. That is so important. They're the bearers of you into this world. They bring you forth. The next thing is respect, right? For years, historically, in the African American community, there have been a severe, gross disrespect for black women. In our media, in our culture, from our experience in slavery, that's just been the way it is. And yes, black men have suffered at the hands of some of this stuff as well, but nowhere near in capacity of what black women have gone through in this experience. Black men have the privilege of masculinity, should I say, of maleness, that we are men. And so there is a higher sense of male supremacy than there even is of white or race supremacy. And so because of that, the privilege of being a man makes life a little bit better for us, and particularly within our own communities. And so Black women have been the victims of misogyny, mistreatment, disrespect. In fact, if I'm correct, and I know I am, it is Snoop Dogg who said, "We don't love them hoes," in reference to women. And when I saw him respond to Gayle King's mistake, and her mistake was timing, but when I saw his response to Gayle King's error, to her mistake, in a similar fashion to degrading a Black woman, I was disappointed in Snoop. I'll be honest, I was disappointed because I felt as though watching Snoop Dogg over the years, Snoop Dogg in 2020 is not Snoop Dogg in 1990, 1995. You know, he's not the same person. He isn't evolved. He's a father. He's a businessman, mogul. He's an intelligent guy. He's very much entrenched into popular culture. Everybody can recognize and acknowledge Snoop Dogg. He's articulate. He's a very, very, very brilliant person to me because he's taken where he's come from, which is the streets of Long Beach and the gang culture, and he's been able to create, or should I say recreate himself into an icon. And so when he did that reversion back to the "we don't love them hoes" Snoop, I kind of was like, shocked because I think highly of him. And so I was so thrilled when he apologized because that's the Snoop that he is today. The Snoop that is saying, you know what, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When I'm right, I'm right. And this ain't the way to degrade a Black woman publicly. I loved it. So thank you, Snoop, for doing that once again, because so many people needed to see that. But we have to understand that if we don't protect our women as Black men, and like I said, that doesn't matter if you are physically attracted to Black women, whether you're gay, straight, bi, tri, whatever you subscribe to for your own sexual purposes and for your own personal purposes, all that's irrelevant. As Black men, it is our job to protect those who we have to protect, and that is our Black women and our Black children, especially protecting them. And so by protecting them, we're not going to publicly lash on them. We might have our gripes, we might have our critiques, we might have our feelings about things, but what we should never do is continue to be misogynist, continue to beat down our Black women. And for that simple fact of loving your mother. Or if you have daughters, you wouldn't want a man to do that to your daughters. Treat each and every Black woman you encounter the way you would treat your mother and the way you would treat your daughters. That's a very important dynamic. Another thing that came from my mother as it relates to Black women was allowing me to get in touch with my feminine side. And I know some of you are like, whoa, what does that mean? Because we live in a hyper-masculine world and we negate femininity and we look at it as a certain thing when it's possessed in men, and we hyper-masculate in order to prove we're men. First of all, you can't prove you're a man. You can't prove it. Showing up proves you're a man in male form. That proves enough for me. I don't need any extra proof that you're a man. You're a man. But feminine energy is positive energy. Feminine energy is needed energy in every human. And it took my mom's femininity, nurturing, compassion, gentleness in the times that she was, to incorporate in me the need to be those things. So for example, when I deal with disagreements with someone, I don't go off into I gotta beat you up or I gotta fight you. My first go-to is, how can we communicate our differences and communicate a resolution and resolve to these differences before we got to get physical. We only get physical in defense when I have to defend myself or those I love. Other than that, we can communicate like two men in a healthy way, or two women or two adults, really, and just deal with it. That is a very feminine feature, to be able to be communicative openly. Another femininity is to be able to express it. When I'm hurt, I will say, I am hurt. It's healthy. I will not carry the hurt within me and carry the hurt to other people. I will say, I am hurt. You've hurt me. And this is why. And I'm able to articulate those things. There are other things. I appreciate beautiful sceneries and colors and smells and foods. And I appreciate the beauty in life other than the mundane form and structure of life. There is beauty in the flowers and beauty in the animals. And of course, if I had children, I'd want to be a nurturing parent who shows that child that despite your whatever, I'm going to love you. Hence why in another video, I talked about D. Wade's ability to get past his own ignorance, to love and to nurture and to accept his daughter the way she is. Those are all feminine things that the feminine energy brings us, that our masculine energy doesn't always, compute. And so the femininity of my mother is what gave me the ability to even recognize that. I actually grew up in a household where my father and my brothers and the men around me, my uncles and grandfathers, were hypermasculine. They acted out of hypermasculinity a lot of times. And many times I felt obligated to try to prove myself man or manly or my manhood by hypermasculation. And that wasn't always the healthy, the peaceful, the most beneficial way of handling anything, really. Because too much of anything is a problem. So if I didn't handle it in a certain way, or in one way on one side, and I handled it too much on the other way, there still would be a problem. So I had to find a happy medium to learn how to resolve problems. And it took many years of therapy and coaching and interpersonal relationships to try to get as best as I can with that. And that's a constant daily thing that we all work on all the time. But I love my mom because part of what she gave me was her femininity to a level of where I can use it in useful interpersonal and self-reflexive relationship. So that's another reason to have respect and love and appreciation for women, no matter who you are as a Black man. We have to come to a place, and you guys know I love it, it's up there, that you have to first love Black. Regardless of our differences, whether they're religious, whether they are sexuality, whether they are political, whether they are gender, whether they are economic, whether they're sociological, the list goes on in ways we as Black people are different. But the one thing that is our commonality is our Black. And so if you come with the concept of first loving Black, then everything else makes sense. Everything else falls into place behind that. So I can respect you, I can appreciate you, I can critique you in a healthy way, I can build you up, I can show you kindness because I see me in you and hope you see you in me, because I first love Black. And that's why it's important for Black men to stand up in 2020 and beyond and be the biggest support of Black women. And it doesn't matter any of our differences, just support Black women, the cradle of your life, of our lives, the expression of the feminine energy and form that teaches us how to be that way, right? And the fact that you love your mama. Do you love your mama? I love my mama. I wish every day I could pick up the phone and talk to my mom. I love my mom. And so that the mere fact that love there is so intense, I cannot ever, or will I ever, degrade, beat, dehumanize, mistreat, a black woman or girl. Because my mama would not like that, and she wouldn't stand for that. And because my soul is connected to my mama, I wouldn't stand for that either. So once again, like I said, this was related to the Gayle King / Kobe Bryant / Snoop Dogg / everybody else situation. We can recognize our mistakes. We can recognize when others make mistakes as a people, but there's a way of going about healing first, and there's a way of going about dealing first. And I am so proud of you, Snoop. This video actually, the plan of this video went a certain other way, and then yesterday Snoop came out and apologized. And so I'm glad, because that's a full circle, and it's like the universe aligned with this video. I'm proud that you were able to see where you needed to correct that. And you did, because that example that you gave is going to be a bigger example than you lashing out the way you did at first. That's going to change somebody's life. See, this is what I always say. Healing, coaching, growth, it don't need to come from just people like me. Yes, this is what I do in love. Yes, this is how I help my fellow people who look just like me. I love my people and I love helping them. But we learn from each other. Right? Snoop is going to make that kid on the street, Snoop is going to make that CEO in that office realize, you know what? When I'm wrong, and I can apologize, because that's what makes me a man. And that is something that black men have been being denied. The fact that we are men and we are strong enough to stand in our truth. So kudos to Snoop for doing that, and kudos to everybody who stood in the middle. Right? There were some of us, myself included, who said, I'm not going to criticize Gayle. I'm not going to criticize Kobe. I want us to come together as a people, because we first love black, and we're going to be there to support black, even if we don't always appreciate, understand, trust what's happening, but we're going to stand in the middle, and we're going to hold it together. I love the middle standing people, because we holding us together. And as long as more of us get like that, we're going to upbuild us. So that's it. That's all I got to say. I told you it was going to be interesting, deep, but not cool, but controversial, but not. It really isn't. It's just us having real discussions, and that's what we do here on this channel. We have real discussions. We deal with real issues. There is coaching. There is growth. There is knowledge. There is dialogue. This is what I want. So feel free to leave comments. I will respond to the comments. All of the comments, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, because that's what I do. And I will help with coaching. If you want coaching, remember you can go to www.Live4U Caoching. There are free stuff out there that's going to help. I've posted free stuff. There's free stuff on the website. You can email me at drlarry@live4ucaoching.com. You can hit me up on social media at Dr. Larry Smith, Instagram and Facebook. There's a lot of ways to do what we need to do, because we're on this journey. We might not all be walking the same journey in the same way, but we're all on the same journey, heading in the same direction. And that is growth, that is uplifting, and it's all. So I love you. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you back at this table in the next video.